What if an entire generation in South Africa did everything the system told them to do after 1994? Finish high school, go to varsity or higher education, get the qualification, work hard, climb the corporate or government ladder, get a bond, buy a car, start a family, support your extended family, build a better life than the one you grew up in. Millennials born between 1981 and 1996 were raised on that promise. The first generation to come of age in the new South Africa. They studied harder, borrowed more for education, and hustled more than previous generations in many cases. And yet, for millions, the expected rewards feel further away than ever. Today, we're asking the difficult question: how did so many South African millennials do everything right and still end up with so little to show for it in terms of stability and wealth? Let's break it down with the numbers. After apartheid ended, the clear message to young people was clear. Education is the key that unlocks everything. Get your high school qualification, then get a degree or diploma. The new democracy expanded access to universities and introduced NSFAS to help those who couldn't afford fees. Millennials and the generation just behind them took that advice seriously. Tertiary enrollment rose sharply, but the cost of that education climbed dramatically too. The average NSFAS loan balance has ballooned from around 30,000 Rand in earlier years to roughly 90,000 Rand today. Many graduates start their working lives already in the red, before they've earned their first proper salary. And here's the hard reality. Even with qualifications, the return on that investment has been uneven. Graduate unemployment sits noticeably higher than it should be for people who followed the rules. Youth unemployment overall remains brutal. Those aged 15 to 24 face rates around 60%, while 25 to 34-year-olds sit near 40%. Many qualified young people end up in jobs that don't require their degrees, or they piece together multiple side hustles just to survive. They did the responsible thing society asked of them. The economy and job market simply didn't deliver the opportunities at the scale expected. Even when they land work, the job market has been unforgiving. South Africa has faced slow economic growth, repeated infrastructure challenges like load shedding in recent years, policy uncertainty, and skills mismatches. The old path study, get a stable job with benefits, climb steadily, became much narrower for many. Pensions and long-term security, far less guaranteed than for earlier generations who entered more stable public or corporate roles in previous decades. Instead, many millennials juggle contract work, freelancing, or informal side businesses. Black tax, the expectation to financially support extended family, adds another heavy layer that previous generations didn't face in the same way at this life stage. Money that could go into savings or a bond often goes toward keeping the broader family afloat. This is where the struggle becomes most visible for many: housing. The dream of getting your own place, whether a bond in the suburbs or building in your community, has become much harder. While national household homeownership sits around 60%, the picture for younger adults is different. First-time buyers aged 18 to 35 have declined sharply over the past decade. In major cities like Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Cape Town, property prices and rents put enormous pressure on entry-level and mid-level salaries. Many qualified young professionals in their 30s are still renting rooms or staying with family longer than they planned. Getting bond approval is tough with high debt service ratios, credit histories affected by student loans, and salaries that haven't always kept pace with inflation and living costs. What was once seen as a natural next step after a few years of working now feels out of reach for large numbers. They budgeted, they saved where they could. But the combination of high living costs, transport, data, electricity, and supporting others has made building that foundation much slower. When the big life milestones keep getting pushed back, everything else suffers. Many South African millennials are delaying marriage, having children, or buying assets not because they don't want those things, but because the financial ground feels unstable. Retirement savings for many in this generation remain low. The pressure to provide for family today often comes at the expense of building wealth for tomorrow. Interestingly, some data shows progress in certain areas: a growing Black middle class, more young entrepreneurs, and pockets of opportunity in tech, services, and emerging industries. But these successes don't erase the broader picture for the average person who followed the traditional script. The gap between what was promised after 1994 and what many are experiencing today is real and painful for millions. This isn't simply about individual effort or not trying hard enough. It's about timing, structure, and deep-rooted challenges. Apartheid's legacy of inequality, combined with slow post-1994 economic transformation, education quality issues at foundation level, infrastructure bottlenecks, and global economic pressures, created a much tougher environment than many expected. Some millennials have adapted brilliantly, building businesses, upskilling constantly, or finding opportunities in new sectors. Others continue to grind while wondering why the rules that were supposed to deliver stability haven't worked out as advertised. The game changed in ways that weren't fully anticipated when they were sitting in high school and first-year lectures.